Welcome to Open for Business, the Gallatin Valley's only local business and consumer talk show featuring Tom Eaglehoff, the Man Entrepreneur Magazine radio called the leading authority in the United States for doing business in small towns. Here he is, speaker, author, small business consultant, and Mrs. Eaglehoff's favorite son, Tom Eaglehoff.
All right, welcome everyone. Open for Business. We air every Saturday live from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mountain Time on AM 1450 KMMS in Bozeman, 1340 KPRK in Livingston, Montana. If you'd like to be a part of the big broadcast, go to kmmsam.com and click Listen Live. The call-in number during the show, 406-522-TALK, 406-522-8255. I'm here, you're here. Let's get the show on the road. Welcome back, everyone. It is Saturday, September 10th, 2016. It is 25 minutes before the top of the hour, 65 degrees outside. And I want to welcome you to the podcast portion of Open for Business. Each week, I share some tips and tricks I've learned over the years about advertising, marketing, promotion, and building strong, successful businesses. And I do these Open for Business podcasts live every Saturday between 11:30 and noon Mountain Time from the studios of AM 1450 KMMS in Bozeman and 1340 KPRK in Livingston, Montana. And, of course, we stream worldwide on the net at kmmsam.com. If you missed any of my previous podcasts, you'll find them all on my YouTube channel. And while you're there, why not subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll never miss another weekly podcast. And you'll also find my podcast on my website at smalltownmarketing.com, smalltownmarketing.com. Go about halfway down the homepage on the left side, and you'll find a link to the podcast page so you can catch up on any of the podcasts that you might have missed. Today's topic, I want to talk about how to be perceived as an expert in your chosen field. Now, my title might suggest that being perceived as an expert is somehow being untruthful or presenting yourself as something you aren't. That's not the point of this podcast. So if you try to deceive your customers in any way, your business is doomed to failure. It's only a matter of time before customers get wise to your tactics, and they'll abandon your business and take all their friends with them. That, of course, is the last thing we want to have happen. So what I want to show you today is how to capitalize on strengths you may not know you have, and how to present those strengths to others so they can see your true expertise. So what exactly is this perception thing? What is it that makes a person a recognized expert in any field? Is it something that anyone can do? Can you do it? The short answer is yes, you can. So what's an expert anyway? Well, according to my Funkin' Wagnall, an expert is defined as one who has special skill or knowledge, a specialist. So by this definition, would a CPA, a certified public accountant, be an expert accountant? Do CPAs know more than regular accountants? I would assume some do and some probably don't. But there's a perception that because of the extra training a CPA gets and the testing to receive a CPA designation is that a CPA might do a better job with your finances. Whether this is true in reality depends on the CPA. After all, 75% of all CPAs finished in the bottom three-quarters of their class. So if you passed all your history tests in high school, can you present yourself as an expert on history? Probably not. But I feel the real definition of an expert is a person that I feel confident discussing a subject with and will place great weight on their advice. The real perception of an expert lies with the observer, not with the expert. You're an expert if people say you're an expert. Now, let me give you a perfect example of that I often suggest in my seminars on how to alert people to your expertise. Number one, you send a letter to the news director of your local newspaper, radio, TV station. Explain to them the type of business you're in and what you do. Let them know that if there are stories that pertain to your industry, that you would be happy to provide them with any information about the industry they may need. They'll file that information because the one thing a reporter with a deadline doesn't want to do is research. They want a qualified source of information they can tap into and run with. So imagine a reporter having your letter or email and contact information on file when a story comes up about your industry. Who do you think they're going to call? Ghostbusters? No, they're going to call you. Why? Because you have special knowledge about that industry that will make that reporter look good. And if you're quoted, what are people who read that article going to think about you? Right. The paper found a recognized expert on the subject and got their point of view. Now, part two of this example is even more exciting. Being in the industry, you're probably going to have advanced knowledge of industry news before the mainstream media will. Information usually circulates within an industry before it finds its way outside that industry. So you could be the one to alert the media to newsworthy changes in your industry, and you'll more than likely be quoted as the source of the information. So knowledge is power. Here's how to use it. I suggest you start by taking a good look at yourself and honestly assessing your current level of expertise. Here are some things to ask yourself. Do you have enough expertise to confidently teach a class on your business or industry? When you talk to others in your industry, do you find yourself listening to them or do they listen to you? Remember, expertise is just another word for knowledge. So how do you acquire knowledge about your business or industry? Two of the best ways are: 1, keeping contact with others in the same business and comparing and exchanging ideas about your industry. And second, if you spend just 20 minutes a day reading something about your business or industry, I can guarantee you at the end of a year, you'll know more than 75% of the people in that industry. Information creates innovation. The more you know, the greater impact you'll have on your industry, because you'll be able to see things that less knowledgeable people can't see. Albert Einstein, arguably one of the smartest people who ever lived, often said, "I never bother to remember anything I can look up." So the point here is that you don't have to retain the information, but you should know where and how to find it. You know how to do it, and others don't. Everyone hearing this podcast has achieved a certain station in life. Some might be CEOs, others might be starting up a brand new business idea. Whichever you are, here's something to think about. If I took all your possessions and money, within 5 years you could have it all back again. Why? Because you know how to get where you are today. And you probably get there faster because you now have the knowledge and experience you didn't have before. You don't have to relearn all that. You have sellable skills and expertise. Most business people, for some reason, don't appreciate all the time and study it took to learn their craft. They don't feel special for doing it. They sometimes assume that because they did it, anyone can. They feel uncomfortable charging a fair price to customers for something that comes so easy to them. Experts have special knowledge others don't have and don't want to learn. I could probably learn to concrete my driveway, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to call someone who has the skills to do that job and do it better than I ever could. So your expertise is valuable. You're probably already an expert and don't even realize it. Now, what don't you know? In the knowledge is power discussion earlier, I spoke about assessing your strengths. What about your weaknesses? As your business experience increases, there may be extra skills that you'll want to add to your resume. For example, a competitor may provide a new service or procedure that you don't know. In order to be competitive, you're going to have to acquire that skill or expertise. Now, my father started a floral and nursery business back in the 1930s. When my father started that business, he didn't know the first thing about being a florist or a landscaper. So what did he do to learn? He went to the next town and started talking to florists and landscapers. He asked to watch them design floral arrangements. He asked them how they bought flowers and who to contact. How did they charge for their services? How did they advertise? In short, he became a student of the industry. He found successful people who were doing what he wanted to do. He found experts and became one himself. The smart business person doesn't wait until they're forced to do it. The smart business person is in a constant learning mode. Now, it's been over 50 years since I sat in a college classroom, but I still attend 2 or 3 seminars or classes on various business topics each year. I'll probably read 10 books on marketing and advertising this year. Evaluate the gaps in your expertise and start getting the education to fill those gaps as soon as possible. Show what you know. Experts have a point of view and are usually prepared to back up those points of view with facts and statistics of some kind. Your point of view is composed of 2 parts. Part 1 is your view of the industry as a whole, and Part 2, how your business intertwines within that industry. Now, we're all people, but we're all different because of our individual personalities. It's the same with a business. The industry may be a constant, but each business reflects the location, the individual skills and experiences of the owner and the employees. Now, a local woman here wanted to start her own beauty salon. Before starting her business, she took the time to visit each of her soon-to-be competitors. She recorded the things she liked about one and the things she didn't like. When she finally opened her own salon, she incorporated all the positives she found and eliminated all the negatives and began a very successful business. She developed a business point of view that she felt comfortable working with and talking about to others. Her salon looked like any other, but the difference was her view of how to make her special. So document what makes you an expert. Now, this is a very tricky area, so you must be careful. Everything that touches a customer must be carefully controlled. Brochures and other handouts must show your expertise in a very specific way. So let's examine the wrong way first. The blow your own horn method is the most popular incorrect method of showing yourself as an expert. The entire brochure is I and me with no mention of you and yours. Why should a customer come to you? Because they're looking for some kind of benefit they need that your product or service provides. So what do they find in your brochure? All about how wonderful and smart you are and nothing that benefits them? So let's look at the right way to do this. The correct way is to tie your expertise to the benefits that the customer is looking for. So you're the inventor of a new improved widget. So what? It's great for you, but what does it mean to the customer? Instead, you're the inventor of a widget that has saved thousands of people time and money or made their life easier. You know the product inside and out and can adapt it to their needs. Your knowledge and expertise must be an added benefit to the product or service, not overshadow it. There must always be a benefit linking your expertise and the product or service to the needs of your customer. Now, if I were to say computers, who would you think of? Probably IBM or Apple. If I were to mention your industry, who would come to mind in your town? You or your competitor? In positioning, we see the experts as the perceived best, the leaders. Are you a leader in your industry? If not, here are some thoughts to help you become one. Leaders are always well known. At one time, there was no Microsoft, no Amazon, no Facebook. Each of these companies created a positioning strategy against their competitors to become number one in their respective industries. Even though many copycats have come along, these companies maintain the perception that they're the experts. The companies I just mentioned have one very powerful thing in common. They became well known, most through some form of advertising. Now, in your small town, you can do the same thing by networking, becoming involved in your community and organizations that will put you in direct contact with customers. You can make yourself well known in a small community and never spend a dime on advertising. Learn to meet people and turn them into customers. In a nutshell, expertise is knowledge, and letting customers know you have that knowledge. You have knowledge that others don't, and people are willing to pay for your knowledge and expertise. Can you print your own brochures? If not, you need a printer. Can you paint your own car? If not, you need a body shop, and so on. Don't sell yourself and your abilities short. It's not a stretch to become an expert or to be perceived as one. After all, it has to be someone, so why not you? And that's the podcast. If you missed any of my previous podcasts, you'll find them all on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel or on my website at smalltownmarketing.com. That's smalltownmarketing.com. Go about halfway down the homepage on the left side, and you'll find the link to the podcast page so you can catch up on any of my podcasts that you might have missed. So tune in each Saturday, and let's build successful businesses together.